So day 2, I edited the video last night and well, I learned a bit. Hold the camera this way rather than this way. But anyway, we'll carry on with it this way now. So we got the bog on last night. So I'll start off and we'll sand that smooth and then see how we go. Yeah, that's the plan to start with, and we'll see where else we get to today. So for the sanding, I got a wee random orbital, nothing real flash, just a cheap one from the hardware store. Works alright, so we just sand it down and see how we go. So we'll give that a go and show you the results. So I just started sanding that off, and it's basically all just clumping up and falling off, taking the whole lot with it. So I'm not sure if I didn't put enough hardener in with the bog or what it is. I just had a look at this and it's still a bit soft, so we might have to find something else to do today rather than sanding the bog off, because it's obviously not cured yet for some reason. The bog I'm using is quite old stuff I've had sitting around for a while, but it did work when I put some on last a couple of weeks ago, so maybe I just put the hardener on wrong or something, but that certainly hasn't worked. But there's plenty more to do, so I'll jump on to the next job. So I might tackle this rust at the bottom corner of this driver's side A-pillar. It was lead filled, obviously from factory, so what I'd done earlier is get the blowtorch on it, heat it all up, and it basically will just melt it out. So we're back to steel. We might just cut a section out and then I'll make a new template up with the new bit of steel and we'll weld it in. So we cut a wee section out. It's didn't look too bad from the inside. From the outside, you look at the inside and it's a bit thin through all of that. So hopefully it's left me enough to weld to. We'll hit it with the wire wheel, clear up some of the scaly stuff inside there, and then I'll make a patch panel. So quick go with the wire brush. You see we've got a hole in the inner as well. I might just leave that. I don't want to go too far into it. Some people will probably say I'm not doing it properly, but at the end of the day, it's only a little wee paddock car, so Autocross doesn't need to be perfect. It's not going back on the road, and it'll get a cage at a later stage anyway, so we'll leave that. So the good thing about being able to cut the original piece out in one piece, I was able to make a CAD template. So then when we sit the CAD template in, it's close enough, so I'll sketch that onto a bit of fresh steel and we'll start making sure it'll fit properly. So here's my wee patch panel. It's relatively in the shape of where it needs to be, and it should work fairly well, I think. So here we have the new patch welded in. Don't judge the welding too much. Again, I'm not a panel beater. Panel steel is not my expert point of welding, but it's in there, so it's all nice and hot still. So I'll hit it with the flapper disc and grind it down and see how we all look. Here we go. After I've welded it in, sanded it down, ground it down with the flapper disc. We'll just need a thin layer of bog over it and we'll be good to go. And you can see up here there's some of the lead bubbled up, the original lead that was used to fill the seam by Toyota. It also looks like they brass filled it. May have brazed them on at the factory as well, but yeah, pretty happy with that. Move on to the next spot. So here's my next section of rust to do, right rear quarter and around the boot. It's pretty bad. I was going to leave it, but every time I walk past it, it just annoys me now. So we'll take a bit out. We might go all the way back to here and back down here somewhere, but I'll get the saw out and I'll see where I stop. So this is my gaping hole. I've cut basically right along the lip of the rear guard, and then again across the back panel. In here we have the hinge support, so I want to take this little bit here out as well. I'm going to have to separate it from the hinge support, so I'll get in there and with the cold chisel and separate that, and then remove this wee section as well. She might be a several piece replacement section, but we'll see how we go. Removed section of steel, so it's reasonable size, she's come out of 4 pieces. Now to make a template. Unfortunately, the bit of steel I was cutting, a panel steel that I was cutting the previous sections out, I was not wide enough for this patch panel, so I had to hunt around to see what else I've got, and top of an old oil drum. So given we're in lockdown, it's the right price, it's free, and more importantly, it's here. So oil drum it is to the rescue. So we'll cut this up and then I'll try and put some shape into it, which might be interesting without a shrinker or a stretcher or any proper panel making tools or machinery. So learning. The first bit of shape I'm trying to put in is this wee curve down here. So what I've done is got a length of pipe, put it in the vise and just hammered it around the pipe. So hopefully that's given me about right. Looks like I might have gone a little bit too far. We can only try and back it off if we've gone too far, but test fit it. When I hold it up to the guard, it actually doesn't look too bad. I've perhaps at this edge closest to me, I haven't gone far enough, but towards the back it looks good. So I might just try and replicate what I've already done along the back to give this curve in here, and we'll go from there. So I just cut a quick relief in the corner of the patch panel. Now when I set it up there, I can see that I've actually made a mistake in that the angle's not square, while my patch panel is fairly square. The boot's not, so I need to change this angle up in the top. So I'll try and do that and then trim to suit. We've been in and out of the vise and cut a little bit more off. Cut more off the base here, reshaped in this sort of cut out for the corner there. It's actually starting to come along fairly well. I was worried I may not have enough for the return lip up here, but it looks like I might be right. So we'll just keep moving on and put a little bit more shape into it. Then once I'm happy, I might start putting the return lip up. So I started cutting in the upward boot lip. I cut a pile of reliefs in, set it in the vise, wedged it in, and then got a length of 4x2 timber and just smashed it flat. So that looks to have worked fairly well. We'll keep going with the rest of it and then test fit. We're not looking too bad. Obviously I've got a little bit too much of a gap in there, but I can fill that up. But the rest of it I'm actually fairly happy with. So I've still got the reliefs in there. What we might do is weld the reliefs up and then sort of clean that up and get the height right of the return, and then I might weld the corner up at the same time, and then we'll tack her in place and weld it in. So here we go, I've welded up the relief cuts I had in it. Can't grind this side back, I don't have a finger sander, and I don't really want to risk my limited supply of flapper discs on making it right at this point in time, so we'll just leave it at the moment and fix it post lockdown. When I sit it in there, it's all looking pretty good, so I'll weld it in, tack it in, and then weld it in fully. We're in. The welding's not real flash, pretty huckery through there. Sort of I was filling in quite a big gap through there. The rest of it's not too bad for panel steel when I don't really know what I'm doing. Compare it with the other side, the shape's not too far different, I don't think. I still need to cut some of the top out of this, especially at this end, and I'll obviously hit the whole thing with the flapper wheel. But I'm pretty happy with how that's looking. I think that's the most complicated patch rust repair section I've ever had to make. And it doesn't look too bad, I don't think. So I'll hit it with the buffer and then I'll show you how it's looking. Well, there's been quite a bit of grinding there, but I'm going to call it a success. I can't sort of get right in the corner there, and I probably need to put a little bit more metal in through here, just where I had that sort of quite a large gap between the the original panel and my patch panel. But I'm fairly happy. The hinge goes up and down, so I haven't welded that to anything in the middle. We're a bit down here, probably just need to put a little bit of bog in there. I don't think that's my heat. I think this is a result of probably when the rear quarter was replaced. So I bent in there, because we're also quite bent in here from some old damage, so I'd say that's probably when that quarter was replaced. But for a not panel beater who doesn't do very much panel steel welding or much panel making, to be fair, I'm fairly happy with that. Well, I'm pretty happy with that for today's work. I'll give this another bit of a tidy up tomorrow. We'll do some more rust. We've got bottom corner of a door to do. I might look at patching some holes in the floor, but I might just leave them at the moment. They can probably wait. So we'll see how we go. Yeah, I'll see what needs doing for tomorrow and get onto it. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that for today's results. So I'll get this online and I'll see you all tomorrow.